Growing older can feel daunting, especially when thoughts of aging alone start creeping in. I've seen this fear echoed across countless platforms and online forums, where people of all ages openly share their anxieties about facing old age without a partner or strong support system. I understand those fears deeply because, like many, I've also faced the question of, what if I grow old alone? But the good news is, it doesn't have to be something to dread. By shifting perspectives and taking actionable steps, you can build a fulfilling and joyful life, whether you're surrounded by others or not. Let's break down the key points that can help ease the fear of growing older alone and make that stage of life feel full of promise rather than uncertainty. Number 1. Embrace the value of solitude. One of the first steps is understanding and embracing the difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness stems from a desire for connection that feels unmet, but solitude can be a powerful source of peace and self-discovery. It's common to fear the absence of someone to share moments with, but aging alone doesn't mean living in isolation. I've read countless stories from people who found fulfillment in their own company. Take Emily, who shared on a forum how she feared retirement because she thought she would be lonely without co-workers and daily social interactions. But now she's thriving. Emily invested time in hobbies she'd long neglected, like painting and gardening, and discovered a deeper connection with herself. She realized that solitude gave her time to nurture her interests, create beautiful things, and reconnect with her inner peace. When we focus on turning our solitude into something enriching, our alone time becomes a gift, not a burden. Two, build and nurture your social circle. The fear of growing old alone often stems from the idea that your support system will dwindle with time. But here's the thing: connections are everywhere, and it's never too late to build them. If family relationships are distant or strained, focus on creating a chosen family of friends, neighbors, and community members. Even if you're introverted, online platforms, clubs, and community centers offer spaces to meet like-minded people who are also seeking connection. Consider Mark Story, a man in his 60s who I once saw comment on an online video. After his partner passed away, he felt an overwhelming fear of being left alone. Instead of withdrawing, Mark started attending a local book club, where he met a few friends who later became close companions. He admitted that the process took time. There were awkward moments and false starts, but eventually he built a community he could count on. The key is not to wait for connection to come to you, but to go out and cultivate it. Attend events, join groups, or even volunteer. By contributing to something larger than yourself, you not only meet new people, but also feel a sense of purpose. 3. Plan for the future, but live in the present. Fear often comes from uncertainty, especially about the future. Worrying about where you'll live, how you'll manage health concerns, or whether you'll feel lonely can be paralyzing. That's why it's important to plan thoughtfully, so you can take control of your future instead of fearing it. I've seen countless people talk about how planning for things like housing, healthcare, and finances can significantly ease anxiety. Some people, like Joan, shared how she decided to move into a senior co-housing community well before she needed any assistance. She loved the idea of being surrounded by a supportive community that valued independence, but also offered companionship when needed. Her story stood out because it showed how taking proactive steps helped her feel empowered rather than fearful about what might happen down the road. You can do the same. Whether it's looking into community living options, setting up a long-term care plan, or simply saving money for future needs, taking small actions now helps clear the mental clutter of worry and allows you to focus on enjoying today. 4. Find purpose and meaning in your life. Fear often intensifies when you feel like you're no longer needed or valuable as you age. But the truth is, growing older doesn't mean you're less relevant. It means you're seasoned with wisdom and experience that the world desperately needs. I've read stories from individuals in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who found that their later years were some of the most meaningful. For example, Tim, an avid commenter on a community online forum, shared how he feared aging after his children moved away. But instead of dwelling on what he didn't have, Tim started mentoring younger people in his community. He now volunteers at a local youth center, and his life is filled with purpose. He's making a difference in the lives of others, which makes him feel more connected and less alone. Your value doesn't diminish as you age. Whether it's through volunteer work, hobbies, or simply offering your wisdom to those around you. Finding purpose is key to a fulfilling life. 5. Stay open to love in all its forms. One common fear is that aging alone means you'll never experience love again. But love doesn't always have to come in the form of romantic partnerships. Love can be found in deep friendships, in family, and even in the companionship of a pet. In fact, many people share stories about how adopting a pet later in life transformed their sense of purpose and joy. Take Patricia, a widow in her 70s, who shared her experience on a forum. After her husband passed, she felt a profound emptiness, but eventually she adopted a small dog. This little companion brought her so much comfort, routine, and affection that she felt her life brighten again. For her, it wasn't about replacing her partner's love, but about finding a new kind of love and connection. Staying open to love in its many forms is crucial. You may be surprised where you find it. A neighbor, a new friend, a family member you've reconnected with, or even a furry companion. 6. Prioritize your physical and mental health. Aging alone can feel scary when you think about the physical challenges that come with it, but maintaining your health is one of the best ways to feel more confident about the future. You can start now by caring for your body and mind. Physical fitness, eating well, and staying mentally active through hobbies, learning, or mindfulness practices all contribute to a healthier, happier old age. I once came across a man in his 70s who started doing yoga in his 60s. He admitted he was stiff and awkward at first, but now it's a part of his daily routine. He said that it helped him feel strong, connected to his body, and less anxious about aging. Mental health is just as important. If anxiety about the future or loneliness becomes overwhelming, don't hesitate to seek therapy or talk to someone. Reaching out for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. 7. Reframe the idea of growing older. Shifting how you think about aging can make a world of difference. Rather than focusing on what you may lose with age, think about what you'll gain: wisdom, experience, perspective, and time to invest in what truly matters. I've seen so many inspiring people on online videos and forums reframing old age as a new chapter of life. For instance, there's Martha, an 80-year-old woman who started learning to play the violin in her 70s. She loves telling people that it's never too late to start something new, and she's proof that age is not a barrier to living a vibrant, fulfilling life. You can do the same. Think of growing older not as something to fear, but as an opportunity to pursue what you've always wanted. Whether it's traveling, learning a new skill, deepening friendships, or simply enjoying the quiet moments, aging alone doesn't mean living without joy. If you're enjoying the content, kindly consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thank you, and let's move on. 8. Embrace technology to stay connected and informed. One of the greatest gifts of living in this modern era is the accessibility of technology, especially for those who fear growing older alone. Even if you're not tech-savvy, there are endless resources, tutorials, and user-friendly devices that make it easier to stay connected. Platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, and Zoom have allowed people, no matter their age, to maintain relationships with loved ones across the world, meet new people, and engage in communities they otherwise wouldn't have access to. For instance, I came across a story about Helen, a woman in her 70s who learned how to use a tablet to communicate with her grandchildren who live abroad. Despite her initial reluctance, she now uses the device daily, from catching up with friends on social media to joining online knitting communities where she exchanges tips and patterns with people she's never met in person. Her world expanded, and she no longer feels isolated despite living alone. You don't need to be a tech expert, just take small steps. Learning to use technology opens doors to online support groups, virtual book clubs, or even YouTube tutorials on any hobby you've ever been curious about. In fact, engaging online can bridge the gap between physical solitude and emotional connection, making you feel less alone. 9. Create a routine that gives you structure and joy. When you're living alone, especially at an older age, it's easy for days to blur together. A lack of structure can amplify feelings of loneliness or purposelessness. Developing a daily or weekly routine that combines productive tasks with activities that bring you joy can dramatically shift your mindset. Take the example of Robert, who shared his experience on an online forum. After retirement, he found that his days felt aimless and lonely. So, he decided to create a morning routine that included an outdoor walk, reading the newspaper, and spending time in his garden. By mid-morning, he already felt a sense of accomplishment and peace. Robert then dedicated afternoons to learning new recipes and evenings to reading or watching documentaries. That simple structure gave his day meaning and reduced his feelings of loneliness. By sticking to a routine that mixes activities you enjoy with those that keep you mentally and physically active, you'll feel more grounded and positive. It doesn't need to be rigid, just a loose guide to ensure you fill your days with things that uplift you. 10. Cultivate gratitude and mindfulness. As we age, it's easy to focus on the what-ifs and what could have been. But a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety is cultivating gratitude for what you have right now. Practicing gratitude helps you shift your focus from fear of the future to appreciation for the present, which in turn diminishes feelings of loneliness. One woman named Nancy shared on a forum thread that, after struggling with the fear of growing older alone, she started keeping a gratitude journal. Each night before bed, she wrote down 3 things she was thankful for. At first, it was small things: a hot cup of coffee, a sunny afternoon, a chat with a neighbor. Over time, she noticed that her mindset changed. She felt more content and less consumed by her fears. Mindfulness practices such as meditation or simply taking a few moments to breathe deeply and center yourself can also work wonders in calming anxious thoughts. Gratitude doesn't have to be grandiose. It's about noticing the little things that make your life rich in the present moment. Whether it's a kind gesture from a stranger, a beautiful sunset, or the peace of your morning routine, gratitude helps you shift your perspective and find joy, even when alone. Fear of growing older alone is natural, but it doesn't have to dominate your thoughts. With some planning, a shift in perspective, and an openness to connection in all its forms, you can turn aging alone into a rich and rewarding experience. Remember, you are not alone in feeling these fears. Countless others have felt the same way, and many have found ways to thrive in their later years. You can too. Feel free to share your own thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you found the video helpful, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to not miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.